My name is Claire. I'm 35 years old, and I live in Denver, Colorado. 3 years ago, my entire world collapsed in the most painful way you can imagine. My husband of 10 years left me for my best friend. And not just any best friend, the woman I'd known since college, the woman who was my maid of honor at my wedding, the woman I trusted with every single secret I'd ever had. Before we jump in, tell us where your name and where you're watching from in the comments. We might give you a shout out on our next video, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow we've saved something extra special for you. Her name was Melissa, and for 15 years, I thought she was my sister, not by blood, but by choice. We'd been through everything together: breakups, job losses, family drama, celebrations, heartbreaks, and triumphs. She was the person I called when something amazing happened. She was the person I cried to when life got hard. And my husband, Ryan? He was supposed to be my forever, my partner, my best friend. The man who stood at an altar and promised to love me, honor me, and be faithful to me until death do us part. They both broke those promises in the worst way possible. But here's the thing about betrayal that nobody tells you. Sometimes karma works in mysterious ways. Sometimes karma works fast and brutal and beautiful. Sometimes the universe has a way of making things right, even when you think justice will never come. If you're watching this right now, I need you to do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to this channel, because you're going to want to hear how this story ends. Trust me when I say the revenge wasn't something I planned, but it was absolutely perfect. Drop a comment below and tell me where you're watching from and what time it is. I read every single comment, and I want to know who's here with me on this journey. Because if this can happen to me, an educated woman, a successful designer, someone who thought she was careful and aware it can happen to anyone. Now, let me take you all the way back to the beginning, because you need to understand just how perfect I thought my life was before it all came crashing down around me. My husband's name was Ryan Miller. We met during our junior year at the University of Colorado Boulder. It was at a house party thrown by mutual friends, one of those typical college parties with red cups, loud music, and too many people crammed into a small space. I was standing in the kitchen with Melissa, laughing about something I can't even remember now, when Ryan walked in. He was tall, about 6'2", with dark brown hair, hazel eyes, and this confident smile that just drew people to him. He had that kind of charisma that made you want to be around him, made you feel special when he gave you his attention. He walked straight up to me and introduced himself. Not to both of us, just to me. He looked right at me and said, "I'm Ryan. I don't think we've met before, and I feel like that's a mistake I need to fix." It was cheesy. Looking back now, it was so cheesy. But at 20 years old, standing in that crowded kitchen with a cute guy giving me his full attention, I thought it was the most romantic thing I'd ever heard. We talked for 3 hours that night. About everything. Our majors: he was studying business management, I was in graphic design. Our families, our dreams for the future, our favorite movies and music. He made me laugh. He listened when I talked. He asked questions like he genuinely cared about the answers. By the end of the night, he'd gotten my number. By the end of the week, we'd gone on our first date. By the end of the month, we were officially together. Melissa loved him from the start. She'd tell me all the time how lucky I was, how Ryan was exactly the kind of guy I deserved, how she hoped she'd find someone half as good as him someday. "Hold on to this one, Claire," she'd say. "Guys like Ryan don't come around often." I believed her. God, I believed every word. Comment below if you've ever trusted someone who turned out to be lying to your face. Ryan and I dated all through college. He was everything I thought I wanted in a partner. He was attentive, always texting to check on me, always wanting to know about my day, always making sure I felt loved and cared for. He'd bring me coffee before my early morning classes. He'd leave little notes in my backpack for me to find during the day. He'd plan surprise dates, picnics in the park, movie nights with all my favorite snacks, weekend trips to the mountains. He got along great with my family. My parents loved him. My little sister thought he was the coolest guy in the world. Even my dad, who was usually suspicious of any guy I dated, gave Ryan his approval. "He's a good one, Claire," my dad told me after Ryan came to Thanksgiving dinner our senior year. "Don't let this one get away." And Melissa? Melissa was always there, always part of our lives. The three of us hung out together all the time. Movie nights at my apartment, dinners at local restaurants, road trips on long weekends. It never felt weird having her around. She was my best friend, and Ryan was my boyfriend, and we were all just happy, or at least I thought we were. We graduated in 2012. Ryan got a job as a marketing coordinator at a tech startup in Denver. I started freelancing as a graphic designer, taking on small projects while I built up my portfolio and client base. 2 years after graduation, Ryan proposed. It was Valentine's Day. He'd told me we were going to a nice restaurant downtown, nothing too fancy, just a place we both liked. I got dressed up, did my makeup, wore the red dress he'd always said he loved, but we didn't go to the restaurant. Instead, he drove us up to Lookout Mountain, to the same spot where we'd gone on one of our first dates. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink and purple. The whole city was spread out below us, lights just starting to twinkle on. He parked the car, and we got out to look at the view. I was standing there admiring the sunset when I turned around and found Ryan down on one knee. He had this beautiful ring, a simple platinum band with a round diamond that caught the fading sunlight and sparkled like it was full of stars. "Claire," he said, and his voice was shaking a little. "From the moment I met you in that kitchen junior year, I knew you were special. You're beautiful, talented, funny, kind, and the best thing that's ever happened to me. I want to spend the rest of my life making you as happy as you make me. Will you marry me?" I said yes before he even finished the question. I was crying happy tears, and he slid that ring onto my finger, and we kissed as the sun set behind the mountains. It was perfect. It was everything I'd ever dreamed of. If only I'd known it was all a lie. Hit that subscribe button if you want to know what happened next. We got married a year and a half later, in September 2016. The ceremony was at a beautiful vineyard just outside Denver. We had about 150 guests, family, friends, colleagues. The weather was perfect, sunny and warm with just a slight breeze. I wore a white lace dress that made me feel like a princess. Ryan wore a dark gray suit and cried when he saw me walking down the aisle. My dad gave me away, and I could see my mom in the front row wiping tears from her eyes. And Melissa? Melissa was my maid of honor. She wore a dusty rose dress that complemented her skin tone perfectly. She helped me get ready that morning, calming my nerves, making sure every detail was perfect. She held my bouquet during the ceremony. She gave the sweetest speech at the reception. "I've known Claire since we were 18 years old," she said, standing at the microphone with a champagne glass in her hand. "And in all those years, I've never seen her as happy as she is with Ryan. He's perfect for her. They're perfect for each other. And I just know they're going to have the most beautiful life together." Everyone clapped. Ryan squeezed my hand under the table. I looked at Melissa and mouthed, "Thank you." And she smiled at me with what looked like genuine happiness. How could I have known she was already thinking about stealing him? How could I have known that smile was fake? How could I have known that while she was standing there talking about our perfect love, she was already planning how to destroy it? I couldn't have known, because I trusted her. I trusted both of them, and that trust would destroy me. The first few years of marriage were everything I'd hoped they'd be. Ryan and I bought a cute little house in a suburb of Denver. It was a small 3-bedroom ranch-style home with a big backyard and a white picket fence. We painted the walls, hung up artwork, filled it with furniture and memories. We adopted a golden retriever puppy and named him Scout. Ryan would take Scout on long walks every evening, and I'd watch them from the window, thinking about how lucky I was to have such a good man, such a good life. Ryan's career was going well. He got promoted to marketing manager at his company, which came with a nice raise and more responsibilities. I was building my freelance design business, working with small businesses and startups on their branding and websites. The money was good, and I loved the freedom of working from home. We talked about starting a family. Not right away, we wanted to enjoy being married for a while first, travel a bit, get financially stable. But someday we'd have kids, and they'd play in that big backyard, and we'd be one of those happy families you see in the park on Sunday afternoons. And Melissa was always around, always there for dinners, for game nights, for weekend trips. She'd come over and drink wine with me while Ryan was working late. She'd tag along on our vacations to California, to the Grand Canyon, to Seattle. Looking back now, I can see how weird that was. How many married couples bring the wife's best friend on their romantic getaways? But at the time, it just felt normal. Melissa was part of our lives. She was family. I never questioned it. I never wondered why she was always available, always eager to spend time with us, always inserting herself into our plans. I should have questioned it. Tell me in the comments. Have you ever missed the warning signs because you trusted someone too much? It started about 2 years ago, in early 2023. Small things at first, things so subtle I barely noticed them. Ryan started working later. He'd always been dedicated to his job, but suddenly he was staying at the office until 8, 9, sometimes 10 at night. He said the company was growing fast, that there was a lot of pressure to perform, that he was being considered for another promotion and needed to prove himself. I supported him. I'd keep dinner warm for him, or we'd eat together late when he got home. I'd rub his shoulders when he complained about stress. I'd tell him how proud I was of how hard he was working. I was such a fool. His travel schedule increased too. He'd always traveled occasionally for work, maybe once or twice a month for client meetings or conferences. But suddenly, it was every week. 3 days in Chicago, 4 days in San Francisco, a week in New York. He'd call me every night from his hotel room. He'd tell me about his meetings, about the clients he was working with, about how much he missed me and couldn't wait to get home. Just a few more months of this, he'd say. Once I get this promotion, things will calm down. I promise. I believed him. Why wouldn't I? He was my husband. He'd never given me any reason to doubt him before. But there were other changes too. Subtle things that I noticed but explained away. He became obsessed with his phone. He'd always been on his phone a lot, we all are these days, but now it was constant. He'd be texting during dinner, smiling at the screen. When I'd ask who he was talking to, he'd say it was just work stuff or friends from the office. He started going to the gym more. 5 days a week, sometimes 6. He got in the best shape he'd been in since college. He bought new clothes, nicer shirts, better jeans, cologne that smelled expensive. I thought he was just taking better care of himself. I thought maybe he was feeling more confident, wanting to look good for his new position at work. I didn't think he was trying to look good for someone else. Our intimacy changed too. We went from making love 3 or 4 times a week to barely once a month. When I'd try to initiate, he'd say he was too tired, too stressed, had too much on his mind with work. "I'm sorry, babe," he'd say, kissing my forehead like I was his sister instead of his wife. "I'm just exhausted. This project is killing me. Once things calm down, I promise we'll get back to normal." But things never calmed down. And we never got back to normal. And Melissa? Melissa started acting strange too. She'd been so present in our lives for years, and then suddenly she was distant. She'd cancel plans at the last minute, saying she was busy with work or not feeling well or just needed some alone time. When we did hang out, she seemed distracted. She'd check her phone constantly, smile at messages, make excuses to leave early. I asked her once if everything was okay, if something was bothering her. We were having coffee at our favorite shop, and she'd been weird all morning, quiet, distant, checking her phone every 2 minutes. "Is everything okay?" I asked. "You seem off lately." She looked up from her phone, and for just a second, I saw something in her eyes. Guilt? Fear? I couldn't quite place it. "I'm fine," she said quickly. "Just dealing with some stuff at work. Nothing to worry about. But I did worry. I worried that I'd done something to upset her, that our friendship was falling apart for some reason I couldn't understand. If only I'd known the real reason. If only I'd known that while I was worried about losing my best friend, she was busy stealing my husband. Subscribe now if you're as angry as I am. It was the 13th of October 2023. I will never forget that date as long as I live. Ryan had been traveling for work all week. He was supposedly in Chicago for a big client presentation. He'd texted me every day, called me every night, sent me photos of the Chicago skyline from his hotel room window. He was supposed to fly home Friday afternoon, but Thursday night he texted saying his flight got delayed due to weather. He'd have to stay another night and fly home Saturday morning instead. I was disappointed but understanding. Weather delays happen. It wasn't his fault. Friday night, I was home alone with Scout. I'd opened a bottle of wine, put on a movie, trying to enjoy a quiet evening by myself. But I couldn't focus. Something felt off. I couldn't explain it, just this nagging feeling in my gut that something wasn't right. Around 10 p.m., I got up to get another glass of wine. As I walked past the dining room table, I noticed Ryan's laptop sitting there. He'd left it behind. He usually took it everywhere, especially on work trips. But there it was, closed, plugged into charge. I stared at it for a long moment. I'd never gone through Ryan's computer before. We'd always had an open, trusting relationship. We didn't check each other's phones or emails. We respected each other's privacy. But something told me to open it. Call it intuition. Call it a sixth sense. Call it God trying to show me the truth. I sat down and opened the laptop. It wasn't password protected. Ryan had never felt the need to lock me out. The screen lit up, showing his desktop with its background photo of us on our wedding day. We looked so happy in that photo. So young and in love and full of hope for the future. I almost closed the laptop right then, almost talked myself out of snooping, but my hand moved on its own, clicking on his email icon. His inbox loaded, and right there, at the very top, was an email from Melissa, from my best friend, from my maid of honor. The subject line was simple. Can't wait to see you tonight. My heart stopped. My hands started shaking. I couldn't breathe. There had to be some explanation. Maybe she meant a group thing. Maybe she was in Chicago too, and they were meeting up for drinks. Maybe it was totally innocent. But I knew. Deep in my bones, I already knew. I clicked on the email. Ryan, I miss you so much. I can't believe it's only been 3 days since I saw you. This week has felt like forever. I can't wait to see you tonight. I'm counting down the hours. I love you so much. Forever yours, Melissa. The world tilted sideways. I love you. Melissa loved my husband. My husband. This had to be a mistake. A joke. A misunderstanding. There had to be some rational explanation. But then I saw the email thread. I clicked on it, and hundreds of messages loaded. Hundreds of emails between my husband and my best friend, going back months. I started reading. I don't know how long I sat there reading those emails. Hours, maybe. The wine sat forgotten on the table beside me. The movie played on in the background, unwatched. Scout came and laid his head on my lap, like he could sense something was wrong. The emails went back to March, 7 months earlier. The first ones were innocent enough. Ryan asking Melissa for advice about a gift for my birthday. Melissa suggesting restaurants for our anniversary. But then they changed. Late April. I can't stop thinking about you. Is that wrong? You're Claire's best friend. But I can't help how I feel. That was from Ryan. Melissa's response. I've been thinking about you too. I feel so guilty. But I can't make these feelings stop. May. We need to talk. Can you meet me for coffee? They met, they talked, and according to the emails that followed, they kissed. I know this is wrong, Melissa wrote. I know we're betraying Claire. But when I'm with you, nothing else matters. I've never felt this way about anyone. June. I told Claire I had to work late. Can you meet me at the Hampton Inn on I-25? Room 314. They started sleeping together in June. While I was at home, working on my design projects, walking scout, making dinner for a husband who I thought was working late, Ryan was at a hotel with my best friend. July. This trip to San Francisco is perfect. Claire thinks I'm going alone. I've booked us a couples massage at the spa. Can't wait to spend the whole weekend with you. That trip. I remembered that trip. Ryan had been so excited about it. Said it was a huge opportunity to land a major client. He'd called me from his hotel room, told me about the meetings he'd had, the sights he'd seen. He was with her the whole time. August, I love you. I know it's complicated. I know we're hurting, Claire. But I can't imagine my life without you anymore. You're everything to me. September. We need to tell her. This has gone on long enough. She deserves to know the truth. But they didn't tell me. September came and went, and I had no idea. October came. And still, nothing. And then I found the photos. They were in an email from just 2 days ago. Melissa had sent them to Ryan with the caption, "Missing you. Can't wait for this weekend." There were dozens of photos. Ryan and Melissa holding hands on a beach, kissing at a restaurant, lying in bed together, her head on his chest, both of them smiling at the camera. One photo was time-stamped from the weekend Ryan told me he was in Seattle for a conference. They were at the beach, clearly somewhere warm and sunny, definitely not Seattle. Another was from a weekend I thought he was in Dallas. They were at what looked like a fancy resort, dressed up for dinner, looking at each other with the kind of love I thought Ryan reserved for me. There was even a photo from our anniversary weekend 2 months ago. Ryan had told me he had to work that weekend, that he felt terrible about it, but there was an emergency client situation. I'd spent our anniversary alone, crying into a pint of ice cream. He'd spent it with her, at a bed and breakfast in the mountains, celebrating their love while destroying mine. I closed the laptop, I walked to the bathroom, and I threw up everything in my stomach. If you're still watching, hit that like button. You need to hear what happened next. Ryan came home Saturday morning like nothing was wrong. I heard his car pull into the driveway around 9 a.m. I'd been awake all night, sitting on the couch, staring at nothing, trying to process what I'd discovered. I heard his key in the lock, heard the door open, heard him call out, "Babe, I'm home." His voice sounded so normal, so cheerful, like he was actually happy to see me, like he actually cared. I stayed sitting on the couch. Didn't move. Didn't respond. He walked into the living room, rolling his suitcase behind him, a smile on his face. When he saw me sitting there, his smile faltered a little. "Hey," he said. "You okay? You look—" "Where were you?" I asked. My voice sounded strange, flat, dead. "Chicago," he said immediately. "You know that. For the Harrison account presentation." "Try again." He blinked. "What?" I pointed to the laptop still sitting on the dining room table. "I read your emails, Ryan. All of them. Every single one. So I'll ask you again. Where were you?" The color drained from his face. He stood there, frozen, his hand still on his suitcase handle. "Claire," he started. "Don't," I said. "Don't you dare say my name like that. Like you care. Like you love me. Don't you fucking dare." I never cursed. Ryan knew that. Hearing me say that word seemed to shock him even more than getting caught. "I can explain," he said. I laughed. A bitter, broken sound that didn't sound like my own laugh at all. "Explain what? Explain how you've been fucking my best friend for 7 months? Explain how you've been lying to me every single day? Explain how you looked me in the eye and told me you loved me while you were planning your next trip to see her?" He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. The smooth-talking, confident Ryan was gone. In his place was a man who'd been caught and knew there was no talking his way out of it. "Where were you?" I asked again. He hesitated. Then, quietly, "Colorado Springs. With Melissa." Colorado Springs was only an hour away. He could have come home. He could have been with me. Instead, He'd pretended to be stuck in Chicago so he could spend another night with her. How long? I demanded. Claire, how long have you been sleeping with her? Since June. 4 months. 4 months of betrayal. 4 months of lies. But the emails go back to March, I said. We didn't do anything physical until June. Before that, we were just talking. And then we kissed once. And then you decided you'd rather be with her than honor your marriage vows? He ran his hand through his hair, a gesture I'd seen 1,000 times when he was nervous or stressed. It wasn't like that. I didn't plan this. It just happened. Things like this don't just happen, Ryan. You made a choice. Every single time you texted her, every time you met her for coffee, every time you booked a hotel room, every time you took her on trips, every time you lied to me about where you were, those were all choices. He took a step toward me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Claire. I never meant to hurt you. Don't come near me, I said, standing up from the couch. Don't you dare come near me. He stopped. Do you love her? I asked. He hesitated. That hesitation was all the answer I needed. Get out, I said. Claire, get out of my house. Pack your shit and get the fuck out. Can we just talk about this? He pleaded. Can we? There's nothing to talk about. You cheated on me with my best friend. You've been lying to me for months. What is there to discuss? What about marriage counseling? What about trying to work through this? I stared at him in disbelief. You think I'm going to try to work this out? You think I'm going to fight for a marriage that you clearly don't give a shit about? I do care. You don't get to say that. You don't get to stand there and tell me you care after what you've done. My hands were shaking. My whole body was shaking. I'd never been this angry in my entire life. Does she know you're here? I asked. Does Melissa know you came home to your wife? He looked away, didn't answer. That told me everything. She doesn't, does she? You told her you were still stuck in Chicago. You were going to come home, kiss me, tell me you missed me, and then make plans to see her again next week. Am I right? His silence confirmed it. Get out, I said again. You have 1 hour to pack your things and leave. If you're not gone by then, I'm calling the police and having you removed. This is my house too, he said, and there was a hint of defensiveness in his voice now. Not for long. Trust me. When my lawyer is done with you, you won't have anything. That seemed to scare him more than anything else, I'd said. He went upstairs. I heard him moving around in our bedroom, opening drawers, pulling clothes from the closet. 30 minutes later, he came back down with 2 suitcases and a duffel bag. He stood in the doorway, looking at me like he wanted to say something else. Don't, I said. Just go. He left. The door closed behind him, and I collapsed on the floor and cried harder than I'd ever cried in my life. Hit subscribe if you think karma needs to hit them next. My sister Amy came over an hour later. I'd called her as soon as Ryan left, barely able to get the words out through my tears. She made it from Colorado Springs to Denver in 45 minutes. I'm pretty sure she broke every speed limit. She found me still sitting on the floor, Scout's head in my lap, tears streaming down my face. I'm going to kill him, were the first words out of her mouth. I'm going to kill both of them. She sat down next to me on the floor and held me while I sobbed. I told her everything, the emails, the photos, the lies, all of it. You need a lawyer, she said, when I finally stopped crying long enough to breathe. The best divorce lawyer in Denver. She was right. That Monday, I called the law firm of Patterson and Associates. Mark Patterson was known as one of the toughest divorce attorneys in Colorado, and when I told him my story, he took my case immediately. We're going to destroy him, Mark said at our first meeting. Legally, ethically, but we're going to make sure he pays for what he did. The divorce process took 8 months. 8 long, painful months of lawyers and paperwork and court dates. Ryan tried to claim that our marriage had been over for a long time, that we'd grown apart, that his relationship with Melissa only started after our marriage was already done. But Mark had the emails. He had the timestamps. He had proof that Ryan had been actively cheating while still very much married to me. Ryan's lawyer tried to argue for an equal split of assets. Mark laughed in his face. Your client committed adultery with the plaintiff's best friend, Mark said during one of our mediation sessions. He used marital funds to take trips with his mistress. He lied repeatedly and maintained this affair for months while continuing to benefit from the marriage. My client is entitled to far more than half. In the end, I got almost everything. I got the house, the home we'd bought together that we'd filled with memories and dreams. I got Scout. I got 70% of our savings. I got 3 years of alimony. I got my dignity and my self-respect back. Ryan walked away with barely anything, his clothes, his car, and the debt from his lawyer fees. But the financial settlement wasn't even the best part. The best part was watching his life fall apart piece by piece. Remember I mentioned Ryan was up for a promotion? That he was working all those late nights trying to prove himself? Yeah, he didn't get that promotion. In fact, he got fired. 2 weeks after I filed for divorce, word started spreading around his company about what he'd done. I didn't spread it. I never contacted his workplace. But someone did. Maybe a mutual friend who was appalled by his behavior. Maybe karma just works in mysterious ways. His boss called me personally to apologize for what Ryan had put me through and to let me know they'd decided to part ways with him. Turns out, the company had a morality clause in their employment contracts. Something about maintaining professional behavior that reflects well on the company. Cheating on your wife with her best friend and lying about business trips to cover it up? That doesn't reflect well. Ryan was let go with no severance, no references, no nothing. He tried to start his own marketing consulting firm. Put together a website, reached out to his contacts, tried to land some clients, but word had spread. People knew what he'd done, and surprisingly, a lot of businesses don't want to work with someone who's proven themselves to be dishonest and untrustworthy. His consulting business failed within 6 months. Last I heard, he was working part-time at a Best Buy, trying to make ends meet while paying me alimony and covering his own rent and expenses. But that's not even the best part of the karma story. The best part is what happened with Melissa. Remember how Melissa was my best friend? How I'd known her for 15 years? How I'd trusted her with everything? She worked as a marketing director at a mid-sized beauty company in Denver. Good salary, good benefits. A job she'd worked hard to get and was proud of. She lost that job too. Someone, again, I swear it wasn't me, sent screenshots of some of her emails to Ryan, to her boss, the ones where she was bragging about her affair, talking about the trips they took, laughing about how I had no idea. Her boss was a woman, a married woman, who did not take kindly to employees who destroyed other women's marriages. Melissa was fired for conduct unbecoming of a company representative. She tried to get another marketing job, applied to dozens of companies, but Denver's not that big, and word spreads fast. Nobody wanted to hire the woman who'd slept with her best friend's husband. But the real karma? The real, beautiful, perfect karma? Ryan and Melissa tried to make their relationship work. They moved in together about 3 months after our divorce was finalized. I heard through mutual friends, the ones who'd sided with me and cut them both off, that they were so happy, so in love, planning to get married soon. That lasted about 6 months. Then, the fighting started. Melissa would post cryptic things on social media, vague quotes about betrayal, about being taken for granted, about giving your whole heart to someone who doesn't deserve it. The irony was not lost on me. Then, about a year after they moved in together, I heard from Amy that they'd broken up. Want to know why? Ryan cheated on her. The man who'd destroyed our marriage by cheating on me with her had now cheated on her with someone else. Some random woman he'd met at a bar. Nobody special. Nobody he was in love with. Just a one-night stand that Melissa found out about when she went through his phone. The same way I'd found out about their affair. Karma really is beautiful sometimes. Subscribe now if you believe what goes around comes around. About 2 months after Ryan and Melissa broke up, I got a text from her. A long text. Paragraphs and paragraphs. Claire, I know you probably don't want to hear from me, I know I'm probably the last person you ever want to talk to, but I need to say this. I need to apologize. What I did to you was unforgivable. You were my best friend. You trusted me. You welcomed me into your life, into your marriage, into your home, and I betrayed that trust in the worst possible way. There's no excuse for what I did. I was selfish. I was cruel. I destroyed 15 years of friendship for a man who wasn't even worth it. Ryan cheated on me. Can you believe that? The same way he cheated on you with me, he cheated on me with someone else. And now I understand how you felt. Now I know what it's like to have your entire world shattered by someone you trusted. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve that. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything I put you through. I hope someday you can find peace and happiness. You deserve so much better than what I gave you. Melissa. I read that message 3 times. Then I blocked her number. No response. No acknowledgement. Just blocked. Because here's the thing about apologies, sometimes they're too little, too late. Sometimes the damage is too deep, the betrayal too complete, the trust too shattered to ever be repaired. Melissa didn't accidentally fall into bed with my husband. She made a choice. Over and over and over again for 7 months. She chose him over our friendship. She chose lies over honesty. She chose betrayal over loyalty. And now she wanted my forgiveness because she finally experienced a fraction of the pain she'd caused me? No. Some things can't be forgiven. Some people don't deserve second chances. Melissa was one of those people. Ryan tried to reach out too, multiple times. Emails, texts, even a handwritten letter that showed up in my mailbox one day. Every message said the same thing. I'm sorry. I made a huge mistake. I never stopped loving you. Can we please talk? I never responded. Not once. I blocked his email, blocked his phone number, threw his letter in the trash without reading past the first line. Because I didn't care about his apologies. I didn't care about his regrets. I didn't care that his life had fallen apart and Melissa had cheated on him and he'd lost everything. That was karma. That was justice. That was him finally facing the consequences of his choices. Tell me in the comments, would you have forgiven them or done exactly what I did? It's been 3 years now since that October night when I found those emails. 3 years since my entire world fell apart. And you want to know something? I'm doing better than I ever thought possible. I'm still living in Denver. I kept the house, the one Ryan and I bought together. The one we were supposed to fill with children and memories and love. At first, being in that house hurt. Every room had memories of him. Every corner reminded me of what I'd lost. But slowly, piece by piece, I made it mine. I repainted every single wall. Bright colors that made me happy, sunny yellow in the kitchen, soft blue in the bedroom, warm terracotta in the living room. I bought new furniture, got rid of the couch where Ryan used to fall asleep watching TV, replaced the bed where we'd slept together for years, filled the space with things that were entirely mine. I turned the spare bedroom into my office and finally built my design business into something I'm really proud of. I have steady clients now, interesting projects, enough income to support myself comfortably. I'm not dating anyone right now. I'm not sure I'm ready. The trust issues run deep, and it's going to take time before I can open my heart to someone new. But I'm working on it. I've been in therapy for the past 3 years, working through the trauma, the betrayal, the damaged ability to trust. My therapist, Dr. Sarah Chen, has been amazing. She's helped me understand that what happened wasn't my fault, that I couldn't have prevented it, that some people are just capable of terrible things no matter how much you love them. You gave them your trust, Dr. Chen told me during one of our sessions. That was a gift. They abused it. That's on them, not on you. Those words helped more than she'll ever know. My real friends, the ones who didn't betray me, have been incredible. They rallied around me when everything fell apart. They sat with me while I cried. They celebrated every small victory in my recovery. They reminded me of my worth on days when I forgot it. My sister Amy is still my rock. She calls me every single day just to check in, to make sure I'm okay, to remind me how strong I am. You're a survivor, she tells me. You didn't just survive this, you're thriving. I'm so proud of you. And Scout? My sweet golden retriever who stayed by my side through everything? He's still here, still loyal, still the best companion a girl could ask for. Last month, something happened that I need to tell you about. I was at Whole Foods, doing my weekly grocery shopping, when I saw her. Melissa. She was in the produce section, looking at avocados. She looked different, older, tired. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun. She wasn't wearing makeup. She had dark circles under her eyes. She looked like life had been hard on her. Good. She glanced up and saw me. Our eyes met across the display of organic lettuce. I watched the recognition dawn on her face, watched the color drain from her cheeks, watched her freeze, an avocado still in her hand. For a second, I thought she was going to try to approach me. I could see the debate happening in her eyes. Should she say something? Should she apologize again? Should she try to make amends? But I didn't give her the chance. I looked her right in the eye, then calmly turned my cart around and walked away. No anger, no tears, no confrontation, just nothing. Because that's what she was to me now. Nothing. A stranger who used to be important but isn't anymore. And that felt powerful. Hit that like button if you understand that feeling. If you're watching this video, if you've made it this far in my story, there's probably a reason. Maybe you've been betrayed too. Maybe someone you loved and trusted destroyed that trust. Maybe you're going through your own version of what I went through. If that's you, I want you to hear me. It's going to hurt. God, it's going to hurt so much. There will be days when you don't think you can survive it, when the pain feels too big to carry, when you want to give up. But you will survive it. You will get through this. And, on the other side, you'll be stronger than you ever thought possible. Here's what I've learned in the 3 years since my world fell apart. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't ignore those warning signs because you want to believe the best in someone. Don't explain away red flags. Don't make excuses for behavior that makes you uncomfortable. You are not responsible for other people's choices. Ryan chose to cheat. Melissa chose to betray me. Those were their decisions, not mine. I didn't cause it by being a bad wife or a bad friend. They did it because they were selfish and dishonest. Some things can't be forgiven, and that's okay. You don't owe anyone your forgiveness, especially if they haven't earned it. If someone destroys your trust, you have every right to walk away and never look back. Karma is real. You don't have to get revenge. You don't have to plot and plan and scheme. Just live your life. Be a good person. And trust that the universe has a way of balancing things out. Ryan lost his job, his reputation, his relationship with Melissa, and ended up working retail to pay alimony to the woman he betrayed. Melissa lost her job, her reputation, her relationship with Ryan, and the man she destroyed a 15-year friendship for. I didn't have to do anything. Karma did it all for me. You deserve better. You deserve someone who chooses you every single day. Someone who respects you. Someone who values your trust and never takes it for granted. Someone who wouldn't dream of betraying you. Don't settle for less than that. Don't give second chances to people who've proven they don't deserve them. Don't waste your time on people who've shown you exactly who they are. Healing is possible. I didn't think I'd ever be happy again after what happened. I thought my life was over, that I'd never trust anyone again, that I'd spend the rest of my days broken and bitter and alone. But I was wrong. I'm happy now. Really, genuinely, deeply happy. Not the fake happy I was pretending to be in my marriage, but real, honest, in my bones happy. I have a life that's entirely mine. A home I love. A business I'm proud of. Friends who are actually loyal. A future full of possibilities. And that's the best revenge of all. Ryan and Melissa destroyed each other. They lost everything: their jobs, their reputations, their relationship, their self-respect. And me? I'm thriving. I'm living proof that you can survive betrayal, that you can rebuild from nothing, that you can find happiness again even when you think it's impossible. So if you're going through something similar right now, please hear me. You're going to make it through this. It won't be easy. It won't be quick. There will be setbacks and bad days and moments when you want to give up, but don't. Keep fighting. Keep moving forward. Keep believing that better days are ahead, because they are. 3 years ago, I was sitting on my living room floor, crying so hard I couldn't breathe, thinking my life was over. Today, I'm stronger, happier, and more at peace than I've ever been. That can be your story too. I read every single comment, and I want you to know, you're not alone. You're not broken. You're not unlovable. You're a survivor, and you're going to be okay. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for giving me a space to share my pain, my journey, and my triumph. My name is Claire. I'm 35 years old. I live in Denver, Colorado, and I survived the worst betrayal imaginable. If I can do it, so can you. Stay strong, stay true to yourself, and never, ever settle for someone who doesn't see your worth. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and remember, karma is always watching. Did you enjoy this story? Tell me in the comments which city you listened from. Let's meet in the comments. I'm looking forward to your comments on the story. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There's so much more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story. With love and respect.